She typed, "He says no one will find my body." A ruthless Korean mafia boss saw the message. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Tuesday, March 12th, 11:47 p.m. I'm pressed against a concrete wall in an alley behind the Target on Lake Street, and I can't breathe right. My ribs hurt. Everything hurts. The cold seeps through my jacket, through my skin, straight into my bones, but I can't move. I can't make a sound. I can hear him. Santiago's footsteps echo somewhere close, too close, his voice a low snarl cutting through the night air. "Lenora, baby, come on out, you know I didn't mean it." My phone screen glows in my shaking hands. I don't know who to call. The police. They'll ask questions I can't answer. My friends. He knows where they all live. My chest tightens, and my vision blurs with tears I can't let fall because crying makes noise, and noise means he finds me. So I type instead. Just one message, one sentence, one desperate truth. He says no one will find my body. I hit send without checking the number, without thinking, without hope. The silence that follows is suffocating. Then my phone vibrates. I nearly drop it. The reply isn't what I expected. "No, are you okay? No, where are you? No, I'm calling the police." Just 4 words. "Don't move, I see you." My blood goes cold. I don't know who this is. I don't know this number. But something in those words, something precise, something certain, makes my heart hammer for a completely different reason. This isn't comfort. This isn't sympathy. This is control. I lift my head slightly, scanning the darkness. My breath comes in shallow gasps. Santiago's footsteps grow louder. He's circling back. He's going to find me. He's going to. My phone vibrates again. 2 minutes. I don't understand. I don't understand anything. But I press myself flatter against the wall, and I wait, because what else can I do? I don't know the man who read my message. I don't know his name. I don't know that my text reached someone far more dangerous than the man hunting me. But he knows exactly where I am. And he's already on his way. Before we begin, please take a moment to support this channel by clicking the like, share, and subscribe button so you can keep enjoying powerful stories like this. Thank you. The 2 minutes feel like 2 hours. I count them in heartbeats, in shallow breaths, in the scrape of Santiago's shoes against pavement. He's close now. So close I can smell the whiskey on him even from here, can hear the way his breath hitches when he's angry. "Lenora," his voice cracks through the air like a whip. "You think you can run from me? You think anyone's gonna help you?" My fingers dig into my phone. The screen is still lit, still open to that message thread. "Don't move, I see you." Who is this person? How do they see me? I glance up at the buildings around me, old brick, dark windows, fire escapes zigzagging down the sides. There are no lights, no movement, nothing. But someone is watching. Then I hear it. The low purr of an engine. A black car, sleek, expensive, completely silent except for that subtle growl, slides into the alley entrance. No headlights, just there like it materialized from the shadows. Santiago hears it too. His footsteps stop. The car door opens. A man steps out. Even in the darkness, I can tell he's not from here, not from my world. He's tall, lean, dressed in dark clothes that seem to absorb the light. His face is shadowed, but I catch the sharp line of his jaw, the way he moves, calculated, efficient, like every step has been planned 3 moves ahead. He doesn't look at me. He looks at Santiago. "You're in my way," the man says. His voice is quiet, almost conversational, but it cuts through the night like a blade. Santiago straightens up, puffing out his chest. He's a big guy, 6'2", broad shoulders, the kind of build that makes people step aside. He's used to being the threat. "Who the hell are you?" Santiago demands. The man tilts his head slightly. "Someone you should walk away from." Santiago laughs. It's an ugly sound. "This is between me and my girl. You don't want this problem, man." "Your girl?" The man's tone doesn't change. Still calm, still quiet. "She doesn't look like she belongs to anyone." I feel something shift in my chest. Not hope, I'm too scared for that, but something close to it. Something that feels like maybe, just maybe, I'm not completely alone. Santiago takes a step forward. "You need to mind your business before." He doesn't finish the sentence. The man moves so fast I barely track it. One moment he's standing by the car. The next, he's in Santiago's space, and Santiago is on the ground, gasping, clutching his wrist at an angle that makes my stomach turn. "I don't repeat myself," the man says, still in that same conversational tone. "Walk away." Santiago scrambles backward, his face twisted in pain and fury. But he goes. He stumbles out of the alley, cursing, threatening to call the cops to come back to make me pay. The man doesn't react. He just watches until Santiago disappears around the corner. Then he turns to me. I press harder against the wall, my body screaming at me to run, to hide, to disappear. Because this man, whoever he is, just took down Santiago like it was nothing. Like Santiago was an inconvenience, not a threat. What does that make him? He walks toward me slowly, hands visible, non-threatening. But there's nothing soft about him, nothing gentle. He stops a few feet away, giving me space, and that's when I see his face clearly for the first time. Asian, Korean maybe, sharp features, dark eyes that seem to catch every detail. There's a small tattoo on his neck, just barely visible above his collar, some kind of symbol I don't recognize. He's young, late 20s maybe, but he carries himself like someone much older, someone who's seen things, done things. "Lenora Bishop," he says. My name in his mouth sounds foreign. "How do you?" "Your message." He holds up his phone. My text is there, glowing on his screen. "You sent it to me." I didn't mean to." "I know." He slides the phone back into his pocket. "But you did, and now we have a problem." My heart drops. "Please, I'm sorry, I didn't." "The problem," he continues, cutting me off, "is that you're hurt. You're scared. And the man who did this to you thinks he can come back." I swallow hard. I can figure it out. I'll go somewhere, Where?" His eyes lock onto mine. "Where will you go that he can't find you?" I don't have an answer. He nods like he expected that. "Come with me." "I don't even know who you are." "My name is Attakus, yo." He says it like I should recognize it, like it should mean something. And right now, I'm the only reason you're still breathing. The words should terrify me. They do terrify me. But there's something in his eyes, something steady, something absolute, that makes me believe him. "What do you want from me?" I whisper. "Nothing." He turns back toward the car. "Yet." That word hangs in the air between us. Yet. But Santiago is out there. And I'm here, bruised and broken and out of options. So when Attakus opens the car door and looks back at me, waiting, I push myself off the wall. Every step hurts. Every breath reminds me of what just happened, of how close I came to disappearing. But I walk forward. I get in the car. And as we pull away from that alley, away from the blood and the fear and the cold concrete, I realize something that chills me more than anything else tonight. I just traded one monster for another. I just don't know which one is worse. If this moment made you feel something, if you're wondering how someone can stand that still while their world is burning, subscribe now. This story only gets deeper. The car is silent, except for the soft hum of the engine. I sit in the passenger seat, hands clenched in my lap, watching the city lights blur past. We're heading north, away from the neighborhoods I know, away from everything familiar. The leather seat beneath me is soft, expensive. The car smells like cedar and something else, something clean and sharp that I can't name. Attakus drives with one hand on the wheel, his movements precise and unhurried. He hasn't looked at me since I got in, hasn't asked if I'm okay, hasn't said anything at all. I should be grateful, I should be thanking him, but all I can think about is that single word, yet. Where are we going? I finally ask. My voice sounds small in the enclosed space. Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. It's the only one you need right now. His tone is matter of fact, not cruel, just final. I watch his profile in the dim light from the dashboard. There's a scar along his jawline, faint but visible. His hands on the steering wheel are elegant, long fingers, no rings, no marks except for what looks like the edge of another tattoo disappearing under his cuff. You broke his wrist, I say quietly. Yes. Just like that. Just like that. Do you? I stop. Unsure how to phrase it. Do you do that a lot? When necessary. He glances at me briefly, those dark eyes unreadable. Does that frighten you? It should. It absolutely should. But after what Santiago did to me tonight, after months of walking on eggshells, of making myself smaller and quieter and more invisible just to survive, Attakus's controlled violence feels almost clean, purposeful. I don't know, I admit. He nods like that's a reasonable answer. Good. You shouldn't trust anyone right now, including me. We turn onto Hennepin Avenue, passing late-night bars and closed storefronts. The streets are mostly empty at this hour. A few people cluster outside a 24-hour diner, smoking, laughing, normal people. People whose worst problem tonight is probably a bad date or a missed bus. I used to be one of them. Why did you help me? I ask. I read your message. That's not a reason. It's the only reason that matters. He's deflecting, I can feel it, but I'm too tired to push. My ribs ache with every breath. My left eye is starting to swell shut. I catch my reflection in the side mirror and quickly look away. We drive for another 10 minutes, leaving downtown behind, entering the North Loop. This is where the money is, converted warehouses turned into million-dollar lofts, trendy restaurants, art galleries. I've been here before once for a friend's birthday party at some rooftop bar. I felt out of place the entire time. Attakus pulls into an underground parking garage beneath a sleek glass building. The gate opens automatically. He parks in a spot marked private, next to two other expensive cars that probably cost more than I'll make in 5 years. Come on, he says, getting out. I follow because what choice do I have? My legs shake as I stand. Everything hurts. I'm running on adrenaline and fear, and both are starting to drain away, leaving me hollow. Attakus notices. He doesn't touch me, but he slows his pace, stays close enough that if I stumble, he'll catch me. We take a private elevator to the top floor. The doors open directly into a penthouse apartment. I stop in the doorway. The space is stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, minimalist furniture, art on the walls that looks original and expensive. Everything is clean lines and neutral colors, controlled and perfect. It doesn't look lived in. It looks like a photograph from an architecture magazine. Sit, Attakus says, gesturing to a leather couch. I'll get ice. He disappears into what I assume is the kitchen. I lower myself onto the couch carefully, every movement calculated to minimize pain. The leather is cool against my skin. I can see the entire city from here. the Mississippi River winding through downtown, the Guthrie Theater lit up in blue, the stone arch bridge connecting the two sides of the city like a promise. Attakus returns with a first aid kit and an ice pack wrapped in a towel. He sets them on the coffee table and sits across from me in an armchair, maintaining distance. "Press that to your face," he says, nodding at the ice pack. I do. The cold is shocking at first, then soothing. I close my good eye and just breathe. "I'm going to ask you questions," Attakus says. "You don't have to answer all of them tonight, but eventually you will." I open my eye. "What kind of questions?" "How long has he been hurting you?" My throat tightens. 6 months. "Why didn't you leave?" "I tried, he found me." My voice cracks. "He always finds me." Attakus leans back, his expression unchanging. "Does he have connections? Police? Government?" "His uncle is a judge. His cousin works for the city attorney's office." The words taste bitter. "Every time I tried to report him, it disappeared. No record, no investigation, just gone." "And your family?" "Dead, car accident when I was 19. I swallow hard. "No siblings. My friends, they tried to help at first, but Santiago scared them off. Made threats. Showed up at their jobs. One of them moved to Chicago just to get away from the situation." Attakus is quiet for a long moment, studying me with those dark, calculating eyes. I feel like he's cataloging every detail, filing it away for later use. "He'll come for you," he finally says. "Men like him don't let go easily." "I know. But he won't find you, not while you're here." "Why?" I lean forward, ignoring the pain in my ribs. "Why are you doing this? You don't know me, I'm nobody." "You sent me a message," he says simply. "That makes you someone I'm responsible for." "That's insane." "Perhaps." He stands, moving to the windows, hands in his pockets. "But it's the truth. There are rules in my world, Lenora. When someone asks for help, even accidentally, certain obligations arise." "Your world," I repeat slowly. "What world is that?" He turns to look at me, and for the first time, I see something flicker in his expression. Not quite a smile, more like acknowledgement. "The one where people like your ex-boyfriend learn to fear the darkness," he says quietly. "Because sometimes, the darkness is the only thing that keeps the monsters in check." I should run. Every instinct I have screams at me to get up, walk out, find my own way. But I'm so tired, so broken. And Attakus, whoever he really is, just did what no one else could. He made Santiago afraid. "There's a bedroom down the hall," Attakus continues. "First door on the right, clean clothes in the closet. Lock the door if it makes you feel better." "Will it matter if I do?" "No," he says it without hesitation, "but it might help you sleep." He's right about that, at least. I need to feel some sense of control, even if it's an illusion. I stand slowly, gathering what's left of my dignity. "Thank you for tonight." "Don't thank me yet." He turns back to the window, his silhouette dark against the city lights. "You're safe for now, but safety has a price, Lenora. We'll discuss terms tomorrow." There it is again, that promise of something owed, something expected. I walk to the bedroom on unsteady legs, close the door, lock it, even though we both know it doesn't matter. The bed is massive, covered in white linens that look untouched. I don't bother changing. I just collapse onto it, still wearing my torn jacket and blood-stained jeans, and stare at the ceiling. I've escaped Santiago. But I haven't escaped. I've just traded one cage for another. And the man who holds the key is far more terrifying than anything I've faced before. I wake up to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, I forget where I am. Then the pain hits, my ribs, my face, every muscle in my body protesting movement. The memories flood back. The alley, Santiago's rage, Attakus's cold efficiency. I'm in his penthouse. I sit up slowly, taking in the bedroom properly. It's pristine, white walls, dark wood furniture, a small abstract painting that probably costs more than my entire apartment. There's a bathroom attached, all marble and glass. The clothes Attakus mentioned hang in the closet. Designer labels, women's sizes that look close to mine. Who did these belong to? I don't want to know. The shower is hot and perfect. I stand under the spray longer than I should, watching blood and dirt swirl down the drain. My reflection in the mirror after is shocking. Bruised face, split lip, a handprint on my throat already turning purple. This is what loving Santiago looks like. This is what I accepted for 6 months. The clothes fit. Black pants, a soft gray sweater, even underwear and socks, all new, tags still on. It's thoughtful and disturbing in equal measure. How often does Attakus have women staying here that he keeps a wardrobe ready? When I emerge from the bedroom, I follow the smell of coffee to the kitchen. Attakus is already there, dressed in a different suit, charcoal gray, perfectly tailored. He's reading something on his phone, a cup of espresso in his other hand. He glances up as I enter. His eyes move over me briefly, assessing. "Better," he says simply. "Thank you for the clothes." "Sit, eat." He gestures to the counter where breakfast is laid out. Fruit, pastries, yogurt. More food than 2 people could possibly need. I'm not hungry, but I sit, take a strawberry, force myself to eat it because I know I need the strength. "We need to discuss your situation," Attakus says, setting down his phone. My situation. Santiago Reyes, age 31, works in commercial real estate, his family's business. Multiple complaints filed against him over the years, all dismissed. His uncle is Judge Victor Reyes, Hennepin County. His cousin, Maria Reyes, works in the city attorney's office. He has connections throughout the Minneapolis Police Department. I stare at him. How do you know all that? I made calls. He says it like it's the most natural thing in the world. Your ex-boyfriend is protected by a network of corrupt officials and family loyalty. Traditional channels won't work. I already knew that. But now I know it. His eyes meet mine, which changes things. I set down the strawberry. What does that mean? It means Santiago is no longer your problem. He's mine. Something cold settles in my stomach. What are you going to do to him? Nothing yet. There's that word again. First, you need to understand the reality of your situation. You can't go back to your apartment. He knows where you work, where your friends live, everywhere you go. If you leave this building alone, he'll find you within hours. So I'm a prisoner here. You're protected here. Attakus's voice doesn't change. There's a difference. Is there? I push away from the counter, anger suddenly flaring through the fear. You're telling me I can't leave. That sounds like a prison to me. I'm telling you that leaving would be suicide. He stands, moving around the counter to face me. He doesn't come too close, but his presence fills the space. Do you want to die, Lenora? No. Then accept reality. For now, you stay here. You follow my instructions. You let me handle Santiago. Why? I demand. Why do you care? What do you want from me? He considers the question, head tilted slightly. I want you to survive, and I want you to understand that survival sometimes requires accepting help, even from people you don't entirely trust. I don't trust you at all. Good. A ghost of something that might be approval crosses his face. That means you're smarter than I thought. We stand there in his expensive kitchen, sunlight pouring through the windows, and I realize this is my life now. This pristine cage. This controlled environment. This man who speaks in certainties and breaks wrists without breaking a sweat. How long? I asked quietly. Until it's handled. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you. My phone buzzes in my pocket, the cheap prepaid I bought months ago so Santiago couldn't track my real one. I pull it out. 7 missed calls, 13 texts, all from Santiago. I start to read them, but Attakus plucks the phone from my hand. Don't, he says firmly. Don't give him space in your head. That's my phone. He drops it into the garbage disposal and turns it on. I watch, horrified, as my last connection to the outside world is destroyed. What the hell is wrong with you? He was tracking it, Attakus says calmly. You think he didn't have access to your cloud, your location data, every app you've ever downloaded? He shuts off the disposal. You're off the grid now, safe. I need a phone. You'll get one, clean, secure, untraceable. He returns to his coffee like nothing happened. In the meantime, you focus on healing. I want to scream. I want to throw something. I want to run out of this place and never look back. But he's right, and I hate that he's right. Santiago would track the phone. He probably already was. I have a job, I say, grasping for any remaining thread of my old life. I need to call in. You don't work there anymore. Excuse me. Your manager received a resignation email this morning. 2 weeks' pay has been deposited into your account, enough to cover your notice period. My hands shake. You can't do that. You can't just. I can, and I did. He finally looks at me, and there's something almost gentle in his expression. Almost. Lenora, you need to let go of the life you had. It's already gone. Santiago made sure of that. All I'm doing is making it official. That's not your decision to make. No, he agrees. But someone had to make it, and you were too broken to do it yourself. The truth of that hits harder than any blow Santiago ever landed. Because he's right. I was never going to leave. I was going to go back to that apartment, back to that job, back to waiting for Santiago to kill me. I was going to let it happen because I couldn't see any other way. I sink back onto the stool, all the fight draining out of me. I know this is difficult, Attakus says, and for the first time his voice carries something approaching compassion. You feel powerless, controlled, but this is temporary. Once Santiago is dealt with, you'll have choices again. What kind of choices? That depends on you. He moves to leave, then pauses. There are books in the study, movies, anything you need, ask. My assistant will check in this afternoon. Your assistant? Her name is Jin. She'll bring you a new phone, some other necessities. She's discreet. Is she like you? He smiles, actually smiles, and it transforms his face for just a moment. No one is like me, Lenora. That's what keeps me alive. Then he's gone, leaving me alone in his perfect, sterile penthouse with nothing but the view and my spiraling thoughts. I walk to the windows, pressing my forehead against the cool glass. Down below, the city moves, people going to work, to coffee shops, to their normal lives. They look like ants from up here. Small, insignificant. Is that how Attakus sees everyone? Is that how he sees me? I think about what he said. Safety has a price. I think about the clothes in the closet, perfectly sized. I think about how easily he handled Santiago, like it was nothing. I think about the tattoo on his neck, the scar on his jaw, the way he moves like violence is a language he speaks fluently. And I realize, standing in this golden cage, that I'm not sure which is more terrifying. The monster I escaped, or the one I just handed my life to. If you're starting to realize that sometimes the scariest cages are the ones we can't see, hit that subscribe button. Because Lenora is about to discover that safety and freedom aren't the same thing. 3 days pass in a strange, suspended reality. Jin arrives that first afternoon, a Korean woman in her 40s, elegant and efficient, who brings me a new phone, toiletries, more clothes. She doesn't ask questions, doesn't comment on the bruises, just leaves everything neatly organized and tells me to call if I need anything else. Attakus comes and goes at odd hours. Sometimes I see him in the morning, pristine in another expensive suit. Sometimes I wake at 3 a.m. and find him sitting in the darkened living room, just staring out at the city. We don't talk much. He asks if I need anything. I say no. The routine becomes almost comfortable in its predictability. But on the 4th morning, everything changes. I'm in the kitchen making coffee when Attakus emerges from his bedroom. He's not dressed for business today, just dark jeans and a black t-shirt that reveals more tattoos winding down his arms. They're beautiful in a severe way, all sharp lines and deliberate patterns. "We're going out," he announces. I nearly drop the coffee cup. "What?" "You've been inside too long. You need air." "You said it wasn't safe." "It's controlled." He pours himself espresso. "Edina, lunch, 2 hours, my people will be positioned." "Your people?" I repeat the phrase slowly, finally acknowledging what I've been avoiding. "What do you do, Attakus? Really?" He looks at me over the rim of his cup. "What do you think I do?" "I think you're not a legitimate businessman." "I'm extremely legitimate. I own 3 restaurants, 2 art galleries, and a security consulting firm. All legal, all profitable." "That's not what I asked." He sets down the cup. "No, it's not." We stare at each other. I'm waiting for him to deflect again, to change the subject, to shut me down. But instead, he walks to the window, hands in his pockets, and speaks to the glass. "My family came to Minnesota when I was 12. My father was a businessman, legitimate like I am now. He believed in the American dream, in doing things the right way. He built something here, made connections, earned respect." He pauses, and I see his jaw tighten. "When I was 16, one of his competitors decided our presence was inconvenient. They threatened him. When threats didn't work, they went after my mother, then my younger sister." His voice drops. "The police did nothing, said there wasn't enough evidence, said we should just move, start over somewhere else." "What happened?" I whisper. "My father tried to do the right thing. He hired lawyers, filed reports, followed every legal channel." Attakus turns to face me. "And then one night, someone set our house on fire. My mother died in that fire. My sister barely survived. She has scars she'll carry for life." My hand covers my mouth. "The police called it an accident, faulty wiring, case closed." His eyes are flat, emotionless. That's when I learned the truth. The system only works if you have power, real power, not money. Anyone can have money. Power is the ability to make people afraid of what happens if they cross you. "So you became," I trail off, unsure how to finish. "Someone people fear," he completes. "Someone who operates outside the system when the system fails. I took over my father's business and expanded it, made the right connections, built something that can't be touched. And I made sure that no one ever threatens my family again." He says it without pride or shame, just fact. "Why tell me this?" I ask. "Because you asked, and because you need to understand why I answered your message." He moves toward me, stopping a respectful distance away. "That night, when I saw your text, when I read those words, I saw my mother, my sister, every person I couldn't save before I had power. I'm not your responsibility." "You are now." His certainty is absolute. "When you sent that message, you became part of my world, and in my world we protect our own." The weight of those words settles over me. I should be terrified. I should be horrified by what he's telling me, but instead, all I feel is a strange sense of understanding. The people you've hurt, I say carefully, did they deserve it? Yes, no hesitation, every single one. How can you be sure? Because I don't act on assumptions. He picks up his phone, scrolls through something, then shows me the screen. It's a file, detailed, comprehensive. Names, dates, crimes. This is what I built, information, truth. When someone comes into my crosshairs, I know everything about them. Their patterns, their weaknesses, their sins. I scan the documents on his phone. It's staggering. Financial records, witness statements, photographs. An entire network of evidence. You're like a detective, I murmur. I'm like justice, he corrects. The kind the courts won't deliver. He takes the phone back, and I'm left standing there, trying to reconcile the man who makes espresso in his pristine kitchen with the man who breaks bones in alleys. Santiago, I say quietly, what have you learned about him? Enough, Attakus's expression hardens. He's worse than I thought. You're not his first victim. There have been others, 3 that I've confirmed. 1 left the state. 1 is still too afraid to speak. 1 disappeared. My blood goes cold. Disappeared. 2 years ago, filed a restraining order against him, then vanished. No body found. Case went cold. He meets my eyes. He's escalating, Lenora. You would have been next. I think about that night in the alley, about Santiago's words, no one will find your body. He wasn't making a threat. He was making a promise. What are you going to do? I ask. What should be done? Attakus checks his watch. But first, lunch. You need to be seen in public in control with me. It sends a message. What message? That you're under protection, that touching you has consequences. He heads toward his room, then pauses. Get dressed, something nice but comfortable. Jin left options in your closet. I want to ask more questions. I want to know the plan, the timeline, the exact steps he's taking. But I'm learning that Attakus only shares what he thinks I need to know when I need to know it. Control. Everything with him is about control. I go to my room and find the clothes Jin left, a selection of dresses and casual outfits, all high quality, all perfectly my style. How did she know? How does Attakus know? I choose a simple black dress, elegant but understated. When I emerge, Attakus is waiting by the elevator, and for just a moment, I see something flicker in his eyes as he looks at me. Appreciation, approval. It's gone before I can name it. Ready, he asks. I'm not ready for any of this, but I nod anyway because what choice do I have? We descend to the parking garage. Attakus opens the passenger door of a different car today, a dark blue sedan, less conspicuous than the black one. As I slide in, I catch sight of something under his jacket. A gun. Of course he's armed. Of course. Attakus, I say as he starts the engine. Thank you for answering, for helping me. Don't thank me yet, he repeats his refrain from that first night. This isn't over. But when it is. He glances at me, and for the first time I see uncertainty in his expression. Just a flash, quickly controlled. When it is, he says carefully, you'll have choices to make, about who you want to be, about whether you can walk away from all of this. Can anyone walk away from your world? He pulls out of the garage into the bright Minnesota morning. I don't know, he admits. No one's ever tried. The restaurant is in Edna, 50th and France, the kind of neighborhood where people drive Teslas and wear Patagonia-like uniforms. Attakus parks on the street, and I notice immediately. 3 other cars park within view, their occupants remaining inside, watching. His people. Stay close, Attakus says as we walk. His hand hovers near my back, not touching but present, protective. The restaurant is French, expensive, the kind of place I'd never go on my own. The host greets Attakus by name, leads us to a table by the window. Prime real estate, maximum visibility. "You come here often?" I ask, settling into my chair. "When I need to be seen." Everything is intentional with him. Every choice serves a purpose. The server brings water and menus. Attakus orders for both of us. He doesn't ask what I want, just seems to know. It should annoy me. Instead, I'm grateful not to have to decide anything. "Tell me about before," Attakus says once we're alone. "Before Santiago." "Why?" "Because I need to know who you were, so I can help you find that person again." I look down at my water glass. I was a community organizer, worked with homeless outreach programs, food shelves. I helped people. My voice cracks slightly. I thought I was strong. I thought I could handle anything. "You are strong." "I let him hurt me for 6 months. That's not strong." "You survived him for 6 months. Attakus leans forward slightly. "Do you know how many people don't? How many give up, go back, convince themselves they deserve it? You kept fighting. Even in that alley, even when you thought you were going to die, you reached out. You didn't surrender." I want to believe him. God, I want to believe that I'm not as broken as I feel. "My mother used to say," I begin quietly, "that the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. She said pain can either destroy you or transform you, and the choice is yours." I meet his eyes. "I think I let it destroy me." "No," his voice is firm. "You let it prepare you." "For what?" Before he can answer, the restaurant door opens. I see him before Attakus does. Santiago. He's standing in the doorway, scanning the room, and when his eyes land on me, his face transforms. Rage. Pure, undiluted rage. My entire body locks up. I can't breathe. Can't move. Can't. "Lenora," Atticus's voice cuts through my panic. "Look at me." I force my eyes to him. "I'm here," he says calmly. "Nothing is going to happen." Santiago starts walking toward our table. The host tries to intercept him, but he shoves past. People are staring now, the elegant lunch crowd murmuring, shocked. "Lenora," Santiago's voice booms across the restaurant. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Attakus doesn't turn around, doesn't acknowledge Santiago's approach. He just keeps his eyes on me, steady and certain. "When he gets here," Attakus says quietly, "say nothing. Let me handle it." Santiago reaches our table. He's a mess, unshaven, bloodshot eyes, shirt wrinkled. His wrist is in a brace. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. "You disappear for 4 days and I find you here," Santiago snarls. "With this. Leave." Attakus finally looks at him. Just one word, but it lands like a physical blow. Santiago laughs, but it's unhinged. "You broke my wrist. You assaulted me. I could have you arrested." "Please do." Atticus's tone is almost bored. "I'd love to explain to the police why I intervened when I saw a man attacking a woman in an alley. I'm sure they'd be very interested in your version of events." Santiago's face reddens. "Lenora, get up. We're leaving." I don't move. "Lenora," his voice rises. "I said get up." "No," the word comes out before I can stop it. Small, but there. Santiago reaches for me, and Attakus moves so fast I barely see it. One moment he's sitting. The next he's standing, his hand locked around Santiago's already injured wrist. Santiago cries out, drops to one knee. "You don't touch her," Attakus says, voice still conversational. "You don't speak to her, you don't even look at her. Are we clear?" "Get off me." Attakus applies pressure. Santiago gasps, face going pale. "I asked if we're clear." Yes, Jesus, yes. Attakus releases him. Santiago stumbles back, cradling his wrist. The entire restaurant has gone silent, everyone watching. Two men in dark suits appear, Attakus's people from the cars. They flank Santiago, not touching him but making their presence known. You'll be escorted out, Attakus tells Santiago. If you come within 100 feet of Lenora again, if you call her, text her, even mention her name, you'll disappear. Not arrested, not charged, disappeared. Do you understand the difference? I see the exact moment Santiago understands. His face goes from red to white. He knows. Somehow he knows that Attakus isn't bluffing. Who are you? Santiago whispers. Someone you should have been afraid of from the beginning. The suited men guide Santiago toward the exit. He goes without resistance, glancing back once at me with a mixture of fear and fury that makes my skin crawl. Then he's gone. Attakus sits back down, straightens his napkin, and takes a sip of water like nothing happened. The restaurant slowly comes back to life. Conversations resume, but everyone is still sneaking glances at our table. That, Attakus says calmly, was the point. What? Everyone here saw what happened. They saw him attack you. They saw me defend you. They saw him escorted out by security. He picks up his menu again. By tomorrow, half of Edina will know that Lenora Bishop is under my protection. By next week, the entire city will know. My hands are shaking so badly, I have to clasp them in my lap. You planned this. I suggested to a mutual acquaintance that Santiago might find us here. Yes. You used me as bait. I gave you visibility. His eyes meet mine, unflinching. You're not a victim anymore, Lenora. You're someone protected by Attakus, yo. That means something in the city. That means power. The food arrives, beautiful, expensive, completely unappetizing. I stare at my plate. I didn't ask for this, I say quietly. No, you asked for help. This is what help looks like in my world. He cuts into his steak precisely. You wanted Santiago stopped. He's stopped. You wanted safety. You have it. But those things don't come free. What's the cost? That depends. He chews slowly, considering. On whether you want to go back to who you were or become something more. I don't understand. You will. He sets down his fork, giving me his full attention. The woman who hid in that alley, she was prey. Weak, afraid. But I don't protect prey, Lenora. I protect people who are willing to learn, to adapt, to become predators themselves. I'm not, I can't be. You already are, you just don't know it yet. He leans back. You sent that message knowing someone might see it. You got in my car knowing what I was. You've stayed in my apartment, accepted my help, let me orchestrate this scene today. Every choice you've made has been calculated toward one goal, survival. That's not weakness. That's strategy. I think about the past 4 days, about how I've watched Attakus, studied him, learned his patterns, about how I've started to understand the way he thinks, the way he operates. He's right. I have been learning. What happens next? I ask. That depends on you. He signals for the check. You can leave, go back to your old life or what's left of it. Find a new apartment, new job, start over. I'll make sure Santiago stays away. You'll be safe, free. Or you stay, you learn, you let me teach you how to protect yourself, not just physically but strategically. How to read people, how to use power, how to make sure you're never helpless again. It's not an offer. It's a choice between 2 futures. One where I remain Lenora Bishop, community organizer, survivor, small and safe. One where I become something I can't even imagine yet. Why would you do that? I whisper. Because I see potential. His gaze is intense, unwavering. And because everyone I've ever protected has either walked away or been destroyed, I want to see if there's a third option. The check arrives. Attakus pays in cash, large bills that he doesn't count. As we leave the restaurant, I catch my reflection in the window. The bruises are still visible, but something else has changed. The way I hold myself, the way I meet the eyes of people who stare. I look like someone under protection. I look like someone dangerous. I need time, I tell Attakus as we walk to the car. To think. Take all the time you need. He opens the passenger door for me. But understand, time is the one thing Santiago doesn't have left. I slide into the car, and as we pull away from the restaurant, from the stares and whispers, I realize something that terrifies and thrills me in equal measure. I don't want to go back to who I was. I want to become who I could be. Even if it costs me everything I thought I knew about myself. Attakus doesn't ask for my decision. He simply assumes it. The next morning, I wake to find him in workout clothes, black athletic pants and a fitted t-shirt, standing in my doorway. We start in 20 minutes, he says. Gym is on the second floor. I didn't say yes. You're still here, that's answer enough. He turns to leave, then pauses. Wear something you can move in. The gym is smaller than I expected, just a section of the parking garage level converted into a training space. Punching bags hang from the ceiling. Weights line one wall. There are mats on the floor, mirrors on another wall. It's sparse but functional. Attakus is already there, stretching. 2 other people are present, a woman in her 30s doing pull-ups and a younger man shadowboxing in the corner. They don't acknowledge me. This is where my people train, Attakus explains. Conditioning, awareness, control. I'm not a fighter. No, but you're going to learn to think like one. He gestures to the mats. First lesson, reading intention. For the next hour, Attakus walks me through scenarios. Not self-defense moves, I expected that, but something more cerebral. He teaches me to watch body language, to recognize the micro-expressions that precede violence. Most people telegraph their actions, he explains, circling me slowly. Weight shifts, eye movement, breath patterns. If you know what to look for, you're never surprised. He demonstrates with the young man, shows me how a shoulder drops slightly before a punch, how eyes flick to target areas, how stance reveals commitment. Violence is a language, Attakus says, and like any language, it can be learned. We break for water. I'm sweating, exhausted, and we haven't even done any physical training yet. Why this? I ask, gulping down water. Why not just teach me to fight back? Because fighting back is reactive. I'm teaching you to be proactive. He sits beside me, his own breathing barely elevated. Santiago hurt you because you didn't see it coming. You trusted him, and by the time you recognized the danger, you were already trapped. That won't happen again. How can you be sure? Because I'm going to rewire how you see the world. It sounds insane, but over the next 2 weeks, that's exactly what he does. Every morning starts in the gym. Then breakfast with Attakus, where he tests me, shows me photos of people and asks me to read their intentions, their truthfulness, their danger level. I'm wrong more often than I'm right at first. But I'm learning. Afternoons, we go out. Restaurants, coffee shops, galleries. Attakus points out his security, then asks me to identify other potential threats. I learn to scan rooms, to position myself with awareness, to never sit with my back to doors. Paranoia, Attakus says one day over coffee in northeast Minneapolis, is just preparedness that society finds uncomfortable. That's a depressing way to live. That's how alive people live. Evenings, we return to the penthouse. Sometimes Jin is there, sometimes others. People in Attakus's network who never give their names but treat me with careful respect. They discuss business in front of me, property deals, investments, disputes that need resolution. I start to understand the scope of Attakus's organization. It's not just muscle and threats. It's intelligence networks, financial leverage, political connections. He's built something vast and invisible, operating in plain sight. Why do they all listen to you? I ask one night after the others have left. We're on the balcony, the city sprawling below us, cold air sharp and clean. Because I'm useful, Attakus says simply, and because I keep my word. Those two things, competence and consistency, are worth more than fear. But they do fear you. Some do, but the ones I trust most, they respect me. He glances over. Do you fear me, Lenora? I consider the question honestly. Sometimes. Good, that means you're still thinking clearly. On the 15th day, Attakus takes me to a gun range. I've never held a gun before. The weight of it in my hands feels wrong, heavy, dangerous. I don't want this, I say. You don't have to shoot anyone, Attakus replies, standing behind me, adjusting my grip. But you need to understand them, how they work, what they can do. Because eventually someone might point one at you and you need to know whether it's loaded, whether the safety is on, whether they actually intend to use it. He teaches me mechanics, not marksmanship. Shows me different types, how to check if they're loaded, how to disarm someone if necessary. Knowledge is power, he says, even especially knowledge of violence. That evening, I actually hit the target a few times, not center mass, but close enough. Attakus nods approval. You're learning faster than I expected. Is that good or bad? It's necessary. We don't talk about Santiago much, but I know Attakus is working on something. Phone calls at odd hours, meetings I'm not invited to, documents he reviews late at night. One night, I wake at 2 a.m. and find him in the living room again, staring at the city. Can't sleep, I ask. Never could. He doesn't look away from the window. My mind doesn't shut off. I sit in the chair across from him. What are you thinking about? How to dismantle a man's life without killing him. The casual way he says it should shock me, but I'm beyond shock now. Santiago, I ask. His uncle retired yesterday. Sudden decision. Health concerns. Attakus's slight smile is cold. His cousin transferred to a different department. No longer has access to case files. You did that. I simply provided information to the right people. What they did with it was their choice. I'm starting to understand how Attakus operates. He doesn't get his hands dirty directly. He creates pressure points, applies leverage, and lets systems collapse under their own weight. He's losing everything, I murmur. He's losing his protection. That's different. Attakus finally looks at me. Soon, he'll be just another man with a history of violence and no one to hide behind. And then justice, real justice, can be served. When? Soon. I lean back in the chair, watching him watch the city. This man who took me in, taught me, protected me. This man who breaks people methodically, strategically, without ever raising his voice. Attakus, I say quietly, what happens when this is over? What do you want to happen? I don't know. I don't know who I am anymore. The woman I was feels like a stranger. That's because you're becoming someone new. He stands, moving to the window, hands in his pockets. The question is, who do you want to be? I think about the past weeks, about everything I've learned, about how different I feel, stronger, sharper, aware. I want to be someone who doesn't need saving, I say. You already are. He turns to face me, backlit by the city lights. You just need to believe it. That night, I sleep without nightmares for the first time in months. If you're starting to see that power isn't given, it's built, step by step, choice by choice, subscribe now. Because Lenora is about to test everything she's learned. The invitation arrives on a Tuesday morning. I'm reading in the study when Jin brings it in, thick cardstock, elegant script, embossed logo. A charity gala at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Black tie, this Saturday. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Because you're going, Attakus says, appearing in the doorway. He's in a suit on his way out for a meeting. With me. My stomach drops. I'm not ready for. Yes, you are. He crosses to the desk, picks up the invitation. This is the annual fundraiser for the Metropolitan Arts Council. Santiago will be there. His family donates annually. Along with 3 city council members, 2 judges, the mayor, and half of Minneapolis elite. Understanding hits me. This is it, the trap. It's an opportunity. He sets down the invitation. You've been training for weeks. You're ready to be seen, to speak, to show everyone that you're not a victim anymore. My hands are already shaking. What if I can't? You can and you will. His certainty is absolute. Jin will arrange your dress, hair, makeup, everything. You'll look the part. The part of what? Someone who belongs in my world. The days leading up to Saturday blur together. Jin takes me shopping, not to regular stores, but to private showrooms where designers bring selections just for me. We settle on a dress that's both elegant and powerful, deep emerald green, perfectly fitted, with a neckline that shows confidence without vulnerability. Saturday arrives too fast. I stand in front of the bedroom mirror, barely recognizing myself. My bruises have faded to nothing. My hair is styled in soft waves. The dress fits like it was made for me. I look like someone from a magazine, someone important. Someone I'm not sure I actually am. Attakus knocks once, then enters. He stops when he sees me, and for a long moment he just looks. Perfect, he finally says. He's in a tuxedo, tailored perfectly, making him look even more dangerous somehow. Like violence wrapped in civility. I'm terrified, I admit. Good, fear keeps you sharp. He offers his arm. But remember, you're not alone. I'll be there. My people will be positioned throughout the venue. You're safe. That's not what I'm afraid of. I know. His eyes meet mine. You're afraid of who you might become tonight. He's right. That's exactly what terrifies me. The Minneapolis Institute of Art is transformed for the gala, chandeliers, ice sculptures, a string quartet playing in the atrium. People in expensive clothes drink expensive champagne and discuss expensive things. Old money and new money mixing carefully. I recognize some faces from the news, others from Attakus's briefings. Everyone is someone. And I'm on Attakus Yo's arm. People notice immediately. Conversations pause as we enter. Eyes track us. Whispers follow. Ignore them, Attakus murmurs. Let them wonder. He introduces me to people whose names I instantly forget. I smile. I nod. I play the part. And with each interaction, I feel myself settling into this role. Not comfortable, I'll never be comfortable here, but capable. Then I see him. Santiago. He's across the room with a woman I don't recognize, blonde, beautiful, laughing at something he said. He looks recovered, put together, like the man I first met before I saw who he really was. My breath catches. Attakus's hand covers mine on his arm. Breathe. I do, in, out, remember the training. He brought a date, I whisper. He brought a prop. Look at her body language. I force myself to observe. The woman's smile doesn't reach her eyes. She keeps creating distance between them. Her hand on her champagne glass is white-knuckled. She's afraid of him, I realize. They always are, eventually. Attakus guides me toward the bar. He hasn't seen you yet. When he does, don't react. Let him come to you. We get drinks, champagne for show, water for me because I need to stay clear. Attakus introduces me to a city council member, and I make small talk about community programs, falling back on the woman I used to be. It feels like putting on an old coat that no longer fits right. That's when Santiago sees me. I watch it happen, his gaze sweeping the room, landing on me, his face going through a series of emotions. Shock, disbelief, rage, fear. He says something to his date and starts walking toward us. Here we go, Attakus says quietly. Remember everything we discussed. Santiago stops a few feet away, his date trailing nervously behind him. Up close, I can see the cracks in his facade, bloodshot eyes, trembling hands, the slight shake in his jaw. Lenora, my name comes out strained. I didn't expect to see you here. Minneapolis is a small city, I reply. My voice is steady. I practiced this. We were bound to run into each other eventually. His eyes dart to Attakus, then back to me. I've been trying to reach you, to apologize. What happened between us? What happened between us, I interrupt, was assault, abuse, terror. Let's not rewrite history. His date's eyes widen. Several people nearby have stopped talking, listening. That's not, you're exaggerating, Santiago's stammering now. Tell them, Lenora. Tell them you're just upset that we had a misunderstanding. I have scars from your misunderstandings. I set down my champagne glass, and I'm not the first woman who does. You're lying. Am I? I tilt my head, using a gesture I learned from Attakus, calm confidence in the face of aggression. Should we discuss Emily Morrison, or Sarah Chen, or Jessica Rivera, who mysteriously left the state 2 years ago after filing a restraining order against you? Santiago's face goes white. How do you? I know everything. 3 words, delivered with absolute certainty. I know about your uncle's retirement, your cousin's transfer. I know about the complaints that were buried, the reports that disappeared, the protection you thought would last forever. People are definitely listening now. The blonde woman has taken several steps back. Lenora, Santiago's voice turns pleading. Baby, please, we can work this out. Just talk to me. Alone. No, the word echoes in the sudden quiet. I will never be alone with you again. You're making a scene. Good. I step forward, and Santiago actually flinches. I want everyone here to know exactly who you are. Not the charming businessman, not the generous donor. The man who put his hands around my throat and told me no one would find my body. Gasps ripple through the crowd. The blonde woman is crying now, trembling. Santiago reaches for me, and Attakus moves, not violently, just positioning himself between us. A barrier, a warning. Don't, Attakus says softly. This is your fault. Santiago turns his rage on Attakus. You turned her against me. You poisoned her mind. I gave her the truth. Attakus's voice carries through the room. About you, about what you've done, about the system that protected you while women suffered. You have no proof. I have all the proof. A woman's voice, strong and clear. We all turn. The blonde woman steps forward, no longer trembling. Her fear has transformed into something else, something harder. My name is Andrea Walsh, she says to the room, and Santiago Reyes has been stalking me for 3 months. Tonight was supposed to be, her voice cracks. He said if I didn't come with him, if I didn't smile and play along, he'd ruin my career, my life. Other women in the crowd are nodding, some with tears in their eyes. I'm Emily Morrison, another woman says, stepping forward. He almost killed me. I have the hospital records. I'm Sarah Chen. He told me no one would believe me because his family owns half the city. One by one, women step forward. Women who have been silent. Women who have been afraid. Women who aren't afraid anymore. Santiago backs away, his face a mask of horror. You planned this. We documented everything, I say quietly. Every complaint, every witness, every crime you thought was buried. And tomorrow morning, all of it goes to the press, to the police, to the FBI. You can't. It's already done. Attakus checks his watch. The files were delivered 20 minutes ago. By now, your father has been notified, your lawyer, everyone you thought would protect you. Santiago looks around the room, at the crowd watching him with disgust, at the women he hurt, at the life he built crumbling around him. This isn't over, he says, but his voice has no power left. Yes, I reply, it is. Security arrives, real security, not Attakus's people, and escorts Santiago out. The blonde woman Andrea goes with them, along with several other women who want to give statements. The gala continues, but everything has changed. People look at me differently now, not with pity, with respect, with understanding. Attakus guides me to a quiet corner, away from the crowd. How do you feel? He asks. I'm shaking, but not from fear, from adrenaline, from power. I feel like I just burned down my whole world, I whisper. You did, he hands me water, and from the ashes you built something stronger. I look at him, this dangerous man who answered a message, who saved my life, who transformed me into someone I barely recognize. What happens now? I ask. Now, he almost smiles. Now you decide who you want to be. If you're feeling what Lenora just did, the moment when survival transforms into power, subscribe now. Because this story has one more truth to reveal. The police station is cold and fluorescent at 9 a.m. Monday morning. I sit in a small room with Detective Maria Santos, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a recorder on the table between us. Andrea is in another room, Emily in a third, Sarah somewhere else, all of us finally telling our stories. But this time, people are listening. Take your time, Detective Santos says gently. Start from the beginning. So I do. I tell her about meeting Santiago at a community event, how charming he was, how he volunteered at the food shelf where I worked, how he seemed perfect, attentive, generous, kind. I tell her about the first time he grabbed me too hard, how he apologized, how I believed him. I tell her about the escalation, the control, the isolation, how he cut me off from friends, family, anyone who might help, how he tracked my phone, my social media, my every movement. I tell her about the night I tried to leave, about the alley, about typing that message. And you sent it to Mr. Yo by accident, she asks. Yes, I meet her eyes, but it wasn't an accident that he answered. That's who he is. She makes a note. Mr. Yo has quite a reputation in certain circles. I know. Does that concern you? It used to. I lean forward. But Detective Santos, when the system failed me, when I called police and nothing happened, when I filed reports that disappeared, when I begged for help and was told there wasn't enough evidence, Attakus Yo was the only one who actually did something. Vigilante justice isn't. He didn't hurt Santiago. I keep my voice level. He protected me. He gathered evidence. He gave me time to heal and strength to come forward. Everything we're doing right now, every woman in this building giving statements, that's because Attakus created a safe space for us to speak. Detective Santos studies me. You care about him. I respect him. There's a difference. We continue for 2 hours. Every detail. Every incident, the timeline of abuse, the hospital visits I paid for in cash so Santiago wouldn't know, the friends who stopped calling because he threatened them. By the time we're done, I'm exhausted. "Thank you, Ms. Bishop," Detective Santos says, standing. "This testimony, combined with the others and the documentary evidence, is more than enough. Mr. Reyes will be formally charged this afternoon." His family has been very quiet since the gala. Apparently, several board positions became available Sunday morning. None of the Reyes family retained their seats. Attakus's work, dismantling the protection network piece by piece. Outside the station, Attakus is waiting. He's leaning against his car, scrolling through his phone, the picture of casual wealth. But when he sees me, his attention snaps into focus. "How did it go?" he asks. "It's done. They're charging him." "Good." He opens the car door. "Where do you want to go?" It's the first time he's asked. The first time he's given me the choice. I think about his penthouse, about the gym, about the careful control of every environment. "Home," I say. "I want to see my apartment." He doesn't argue, just nods and drives. My apartment is in Uptown, a modest one-bedroom in an old building with creaky floors and temperamental heat. Attakus waits in the car while I go up. The door is still marked with police tape from when they collected evidence. Santiago broke in more than once. I unlock it slowly, stepping into space that feels both familiar and foreign. The furniture is still arranged the way I left it. Books on the shelf, photos on the walls, but it feels like someone else's life, someone smaller, someone who didn't know what she was capable of. I pack a bag, just essentials, some books, the few things that still matter. When I return to the car, Attakus looks at the single bag. "That's all?" he asks. "That's all I need." We drive back toward the North Loop, but instead of going to the penthouse, Attakus stops in front of a different building. Modern, secure, beautiful. "What's this?" I ask. "An apartment." He hands me a key. "If you want it, 6th floor, already furnished. Lease is paid for a year. After that, it's up to you." I stare at the key. "Why?" "Because you need your own space, your own life. You can't build an identity in someone else's apartment." I stop, unsure what I thought. "You thought you'd stay with me?" Attakus's expression is unreadable. "That was temporary, protection while you healed. But you're not broken anymore, Lenora. You don't need protecting." Something in my chest clenches. This is what I wanted, isn't it? Independence, freedom, my own life. So why does it feel like loss? "I don't know how to thank you," I say quietly. "Don't thank me. Become something worth saving." I get out of the car, bag in hand, key in my pocket. Attakus waits until I reach the door before driving away. The apartment is perfect. Hardwood floors, large windows, modern kitchen. It's empty of history, a blank canvas. I stand in the middle of the living room and cry for the first time since that night in the alley. Not from fear, not from pain. From relief. From grief. From the overwhelming weight of choice. 3 months later, I'm in the conference room of Attakus's security consulting firm, presenting a proposal to 5 board members who look skeptical and intrigued in equal measure. "Community-based threat assessment," I explain, using the presentation skills I've developed. "We identify at-risk individuals before situations escalate, partner with local organizations, shelters, legal aid, create intervention protocols that actually work." One board member, an older Korean man named Mr. Kim, leans forward. "This sounds like social work, not security." "It's preventive security," I counter. Every woman who calls a hotline, every person who files a report, they're telling us where the next crisis will happen. If we listen, if we intervene early, we prevent situations like mine from occurring. The room is quiet. They all know my story. It's been in the papers, on the news. The woman who survived Santiago Reyes. The woman who brought down a corrupt protection network. How much? Asks another board member. Initial funding of $300,000. Program pilot for 1 year. If successful, we expand citywide. They exchange glances. Mr. Kim nods to Attakus, who's been sitting silently in the corner. Approved, Attakus says. Ms. Bishop will oversee the program, report directly to me. Just like that, decision made. After the meeting, Attakus walks me to the elevator. That went well, he says. You were going to approve it anyway. True, but you earned it. He presses the elevator button. You've learned quickly. I had a good teacher. The elevator arrives. I step in, then turn back. Attakus, I say, can we have dinner tonight? Something flickers in his expression. Why? Because I want to, not as teacher and student, not as protector and protected, just as people who know each other. He considers this. Okay. My place, 7 o'clock, I'll cook. You cook. I'm learning to do a lot of things. That evening, I'm nervous in a way I haven't been in months. I've made pasta, nothing fancy but decent. Set the table. Put on music. I'm wearing jeans and a sweater, deliberately casual. When Attakus arrives, he's also dressed down, just slacks and a button-down. He looks younger somehow, less severe. Wine, I offer. Please. We eat at my small table, making conversation about work, about the city, about nothing important. It's strange, domestic, normal. I saw in the news, I say finally. Santiago pled guilty, 15 years. 12 with good behavior, but he won't survive prison long. Attakus says it matter-of-factly. Men like him don't do well when they can't hide behind power. Is that you talking, or observation? Observation. He sets down his fork. I don't need to touch him, Lenora. Justice is handling it. The system is working for once. Because you made it work. Because we made it work, together. I pour more wine, thinking about the past few months, about everything that's changed. I'm not the same person, I say quietly. The woman who sent that text, she's gone. No, she's evolved. Attakus leans back in his chair. You were always strong, you just didn't know it. I know it now. I meet his eyes. But I also know the cost. I can't unsee what you've shown me, can't unlearn what you taught me. The world looks different now. Clearer. Darker, more dangerous, but yes, clearer. Good. He stands, moving to the window, my window now in my apartment, overlooking my city. That's what I wanted for you, not innocence, understanding. I join him at the window. We stand side by side, watching the city lights. What happens now, I ask, between us? That depends on what you want. I stop, trying to find the right words. I want to keep learning, keep working with you, but on my terms, as an equal, not a project. You were never a project. What was I then? He turns to look at me, and for once his expression is open, vulnerable. A chance, he says quietly, to see if protection could lead to something other than dependence or destruction, to see if someone could learn what I know and not become what I am. What are you? Necessary, dangerous, alone. He says it without self-pity, just truth. You don't have to be alone. Yes, I do. People in my world, they either leave or they die. Those are the only options. What if there's a third option? I echo his words from months ago. What if someone could stand beside you, not owned, not protected, equal? That's never happened. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. We stand there, the space between us charged with possibility and danger, and something I don't have a name for. I can't offer you normal, Attakus says finally. I can't be the man who comes home at 5 o'clock and doesn't carry a gun. My world is darkness and power and calculated violence. I know, I step closer. But my world is no longer safe either. You made sure of that. You taught me to see clearly, to act decisively, to never be helpless. That's not a life of peace. That's a life of power. And you want that. I want choice. I want agency. I want to be someone who saves others the way you saved me. I take his hand, the first time I've initiated contact. But I also want you to know that I see you, not the reputation, not the fear, you, the man who answered a message he could have ignored. Lenora. You don't have to say anything. I'm not asking for declarations. I'm just saying I'm not leaving. I'm not running. I'm building something here, a program, a life, a purpose. And if you want to be part of that on whatever terms make sense, I'm open to it. He looks at our joined hands, and I see something break in his expression. Something that's been locked away. I don't know how to do this, he admits. Partnership, equality, letting someone in. Neither do I. I'm making it up as I go. That's terrifying. Most worthwhile things are. He laughs, actually laughs, and it transforms his face. For a moment he looks his age. Young, uncertain, human. Okay, he says. We'll try, no promises, no guarantees. No expectations, I add. Just possibility. Just possibility, he agrees. Later, after he leaves, I stand at my window and look out at the city I almost died in. The city I was reborn in. I'm not the woman who hid in that alley. I'm not the woman who needed saving. I'm Lenora Bishop, and I know exactly who I am. I'm someone who survived hell and came back stronger. I'm someone who learned power from a master. I'm someone who chose to stand in the darkness and become a light for others. And I'm someone who will never, ever be helpless again. The city glitters below, full of danger and possibility in equal measure. I smile, because I'm ready for all of it. If you believe survival can turn into power, like this story, and subscribe. Because some endings don't save you, they change you.